States. I've also been in communication with the Mayor of Baltimore, with the President of the Maryland Senate and the Speaker of the House. We're here in our Emergency Operations Command Center, which has now been activated. All state agencies are actively engaged in this situation. We've partnered with Baltimore City and all other agencies in Maryland, as well as neighboring states. This evening, as a result of the serious violence and looting, which has led to the destruction of property and put innocent Marylanders at significant risk, I have declared a state of emergency at the request of Baltimore City. This order deploys the Maryland National Guard in order to help restore order and to end the unrest that we witnessed today and tonight. I've not made this decision lightly. The National Guard represents a last resort in order to restore order. Look, people have the right to protest and express their frustration, but Baltimore City families deserve peace and safety in their communities, and these acts of violence and destruction of property cannot and will not be tolerated. I strongly condemn the actions of those who engaged in direct attacks against innocent civilians, businesses, and law enforcement officers. The resources of the state police and the National Guard have already been deployed in support of all law enforcement in the city. They will exercise disciplined restraint and provide the support necessary to ensure safety and to bring law and order to Baltimore City. We've got our entire team here. I'm going to turn the podium over here for a moment to Colonel William Palazzi, who's the superintendent of our state police, and then we will hear from General Linda Singh, and who's the Adjutant General of the Maryland National Guard, and also Clay Stamp, who is the Director of the Maryland Emergency Management Agency, where we are here tonight. So I'm going to start now with Colonel Palazzi of the State Police, and then we'll be happy to take your questions after everybody has spoken. Thank you.
Good evening. As the Governor said, I'm Colonel William Palazzi, Superintendent of the State Police, and the Governor's actions today are huge. We have been here, along with many of our allied law enforcement, over 500 strong, since Wednesday, working with the City of Baltimore in various capacities, helping to maintain as much order as possible. As you've seen, many groups continue to splinter and move around the City of Baltimore, looting, committing crimes in certain areas, setting places on fire. Our mission has been and will continue to be the preservation of life and the preservation of property. I have had conversations this evening with Commissioner Batts. He certainly understands the scope of what has happened, and that we're coming in with additional forces to assist. The Governor's statement of, or the declaration of the emergency order is big, and then it allows us to branch out even further. We've already put out a request for up to 500 additional law enforcement from the state of Maryland, regionally, to come out and provide assistance, but through an EMAC request, which the MEMOP director will talk about in a little bit. We're putting out a request for up to 5,000 law enforcement from the regional area in the Mid-Atlantic to assist us as well. We are asking that they be equipped with the necessary equipment for their own personal safety, as well as to assist us in deploying things. Kind of a plan in the next few hours is to work with other local law enforcement leaders, kind of divide the city into certain sectors,
texting Megan Hunter to see where she is.
Sector by sector, trying to protect, starting dealing with the hottest areas first, which we're waiting for that briefing from BPD right now, and then working concert with the National Guard as they come on board, just maintain security of those areas. This time, it's all I have.
Thank you, Colonel. Now we're going to turn the floor over to Clay Stamp, who is the Director of the Maryland Emergency Management Agency.
Thank you, Governor. Ladies and gentlemen, the Governor's been clear from day one. We activated this past Saturday in his direction to integrate our actions with the City of Baltimore situation. We've had over 400 state policing agencies in the city working with them. Today turned another chapter, and as the governor said, he declared a state of emergency. This was done after the mayor of Baltimore declared a state of emergency. That means that they've exceeded their capability, and they actually need help from the state of Maryland to move in and to support their efforts to curb the situation. But you see here the full court press. You see representatives from organizations across the state agency, as well as volunteer organizations that are bringing the full weight of the state government to deliver resources to achieve the governor's goals, which are clear. We will be working diligently in our different sections that are activated: transportation support, law enforcement, health and medical, human services, and through planning, logistics, and operations, we will achieve the necessary results we need to achieve, again, the governor's directive. I'll turn it over to Governor Hogan again. Thank you.
Lastly, before we take your questions, we're going to turn the podium over here to General Linda Singh, who is the Adjutant General of the Maryland Guard.
Thank you, Governor. As the governor mentioned, the Maryland Guard is actually going to be out in activation this evening. And what you need to understand is that he has access to our full complement that's here within the state, which means up to about 5,000 troops that can be put onto the streets to actually protect property and people. I would highly recommend that we all go in and take cover for the night and actually go to sleep and get some rest and let things settle down so that we can restore order to the city. We are going to be out in massive force, and that just basically means that we are going to be patrolling the streets and out to ensure that we're protecting property. We are in a supporting mode, so if there are any questions about martial law, this is not martial law. Martial law means that at that point the military fully takes over, so we are not at that point. I repeat, not at that point. We are in support of the police department, and we will be taking our direction from the police department as in where we're going to go out and support. Thank you.
This time we'd all be happy to take any questions that anyone might have. Any questions? I've heard about some of the officers have been injured. I don't know the exact medical
I just want to take
status, but is there anybody else that can address that? I don't think you probably have more up-to-date information than we do. I can tell you that last report I had were 7 police officers were injured. It's something, as I said earlier, that won't be tolerated. It was one of the factors in us deciding we had to get in there and provide some support. I can tell you that, but we'll let you know as soon as we. Does anybody hear any other updated information on that? We'll try to get you the answer. Yeah.
Who is actually in charge in order to affect where the resources are going and what to do next?
Well, the city has asked for us to take over. Currently, the state police superintendent Bill Palazzi is in charge. We'll be in direct communication with the city, with the mayor, with the city police, and General Singh will be providing backup assistance to the state police. We'll be coordinating the police from other counties around the state and from the other police that we get in from around other states in the region.
We put out that we've declared this state of emergency, the National Guard is coming in. A lot of this talk we got was 5 what took so long. What was the tipping point for you that made you declare this state of emergency?
We declared the state of emergency, and I issued the executive order less than 30 seconds after requested by the city of Baltimore. So it didn't take us very long at all. I signed an executive order almost immediately as soon as we received the call, and then called the president. There was no delay whatsoever. We've had this emergency operations center activated since Saturday. We've had hundreds of state police on the ground. We've had every single state agency and local agency coordinated on this operation already for the entire week. I've been in daily communication with the mayor and others in the city, and our entire team has been involved from day one. But frankly, this is a Baltimore City situation. Baltimore City was in charge. When the mayor called me, which quite frankly we were glad that she finally did, is instantly we signed the executive order. We already had our entire team prepared.
You see what's on the ticker?
What? No.
We were
It said Baltimore City Schools have canceled all field trips to Baltimore for the next week.
Oh, that makes sense.
It's funny.
Finally made that call, and we immediately took action. Look, I don't want to. I know that the city has done everything in their power to get this under control. I don't want to question what they've been doing. They're all under tremendous stress. We're all here on one team. I want to thank the mayor for all of her involvement. We're just happy that we're all on the same page and we're all able to help each other at this point. Well, I'll let General Singh talk about maybe whatever some of the specifics that she can. But again, the National Guard is going to provide some assets and be working as backup to the state police and the other police agencies. So we're not, as she said, we haven't taken over. It's not a situation where they're going to be in charge, but we are going to roll in some assets into the city. We're going to have some equipment and some manpower that's going to help us get the situation under control. But I'll let General Singh talk about what assets they have available and what might be happening. And keep in mind that some assets will be readily available and we'll get down there tonight. Some of them take a while to call up and get in. So it'll be growing as we bring in folks from around various counties around the state, as we call up the Guard members, and as we get support from other states. But we're going to get as much as we can there this evening.
Wow.
If I could talk to that real quick. One of the challenges law enforcement
Are you looking at a press conference of the Emergency Management Agency in Baltimore City? That is State Police Superintendent Colonel William